first met him a few months ago, so that was, I said, that's great. And he's like, okay, we're up to 400 out of 100,000. So one of the things he's trying to do is, with the new administration, is try and have a change in policy to literally airlift out, not just out of Iraq, but out of the neighboring countries, qualifying refugees, not airlift them directly into the United States. They have to be processed and screened, et cetera, but airlift them to Guam, where they can live and be processed to make sure we're not letting in anyone who's dangerous to the country or anything like that. So we're crossing our fingers and hopeful that the new administration will do the right thing here. So let me just get back to why this is, why I would argue that this is self-interest, and I hope it might encourage and inspire others. One of the reasons that I sort of talk a lot about all these various activities is to try and rope others into my activities. It's not because I will not argue to you that it has made me more successful professionally, that somehow the business contacts, and there are business contacts and networking if you're involved in philanthropic stuff that can help your business. But net, spending half of my time on these various activities rather than reading more annual reports, et cetera, has no doubt cost me some degree of investment returns, and I would probably be wealthier today. My bank account would be larger, my fund would be larger if I had allocated all of my time toward my primary business of managing money. And for those of you who later hear Alice Schroeder talk about Warren Buffett and her book, magnificent book about Buffett, Snowball, for 60-odd years, he has been an investing machine and has spent 12 to 15 hours a day doing absolutely nothing but focus on investing, and that combined with a lot of other factors and the fact that he's a genius and so forth, but the fact that he has been so single-mindedly focused to investing is translated into his incredible track record in being the world's richest man. I will never repeat that, in part because the way I've chosen to spend my time, and that's okay. Because what I would argue is the self-interest I'm talking about is not financial self-interest, but rather I'm really, really happy. And if you think about it, once every study ever done has shown once you reach a certain level of happiness, a certain level of income, and you can take care of your basic needs, people who make, I don't know, $100,000 a year or whatever, and you measure their happiness, and then you measure people who make millions and millions, or even billionaires, and you measure their happiness, and actually billionaires are no happier than people who are sort of, reasonably well off and don't have to really worry about money. And trust me, I know some really unhappy billionaires. So I guess, if not, so what's the self-interest is that if you study the research on happiness and you say it's self-interested to want to be happy and to go to sleep feeling good about yourself every night, right? Well, if not money, if that's not going to get you there, what is? And the answer is I'll leave you with a book recommendation, Viktor Frankl, Man's Search for Meaning, which I'll give Kenny credit for. He's the one who steered me to the book. It's a very quick read. Viktor Frankl is an Auschwitz survivor, and the first half of the book talks about his experiences and how he survived Auschwitz. And it turned out the people who survived and didn't survive, in part was just randomness, but in part was the people who gave up versus the people who stayed mentally strong. And he ended up having a career after the war, counseling people and doing a lot of research on happiness. And what he found is that what determined happiness once you reached a certain income level was whether you felt like your life had meaning and purpose, that it wasn't just mindless pursuit of your own self-interest or making money. And there are a lot of different ways people can find meaning and purpose. Often it's being very involved with your family, raising kids, etc. But I would argue that people who spend time and pick an area that they're really passionate about to make a difference in the world somehow, make a difference in one other person's life, I would argue that the people in this room can probably aim higher, that you can think about leverage, not the leverage in the financial sense that we've been talking about today, but think about, I've been involved with starting organizations from Teach for America 19 years ago, coming out of college. I was sort of employee number 2 after Wendy Kopp starting that, to starting a whole handful of organizations. Like, people in this room have the entrepreneurial ability, the access to capital, etc., to think bigger than just being a big brother, big sister, for example, making a difference in one person's life. But I'd encourage you and inspire you to take advantage of the gifts that all of us in this room have, to to make a bigger difference. You know, I guess with that, I'll stop, and again, thank you for this tremendous award, and hope that my example, I wouldn't encourage you to be quite as extreme as I am. It can be very stressful, but pick one or two areas and really try and make a difference in the world, and it is in your self-interest, because you will feel very good about yourself. So thank you.
Thank you, Whitney, and I want to add my congratulations as well, and I want to take this opportunity to make sure we mention that the Prince Henry Foundation is a primary sponsor of the conference, so we appreciate that.